Welcome to the Education Business Podcast. We now have Education Business Club, version 2, I think. So I thought I would take the time to really talk to you about Education Business Club, what the reincarnation of Education Business Club now is, so that you can assess whether it's going to be useful for you in your business, maybe now, or if not now, in the future. So if you're watching on YouTube, I am going to be looking here to my left a lot, just so that I can make sure that I cover absolutely everything, because I've got the club there right in front of me. Now, you can look at it on a desktop if you want, which is what I'm doing now, but actually there is an app on your phone and it's on Circle, and I just find that really, really useful. You can have all the features on your phone as well. So, Education Business Club, I wanted to reincarnate it with tiers. I love to help people, and I love to help people of all levels. Maybe that's not niching, but the niche is education business. And the thing is, for me, I absolutely love to help somebody start an education business, but equally, I am so in my element when I'm talking to somebody about all the chaotic problems that they have created in their business as a result of their success, and not understanding some of the things that need to be ironed out. And the reason is we've been there. And also, I actually love talking to peers as well, people who are at the same level as me, who I can learn from, who I can share knowledge with. So that's why we've got these different tiers in the new Education Business Club. So if you've had a chance to look, we have tiers 1 to 4 now, and tier 5 is actually coming soon. It was something that was on my mind. Somebody reached out to me, asked if it was going to be a thing, and I thought, that's my confirmation. This is the time. This is the time. So that will be coming in the new year as well. But let's start at tier 1. So a couple of episodes ago, I went through how to work out which tier you would be at. But I thought it would be helpful to just go through what is included in each tier at Education Business Club, so you are coming from a place of knowledge when you decide whether or not it's for you and whether you want to sign up or not. So tier 1, it has 4 spaces, or you could call them sections. And it's important to say that each of these tiers within Education Business Club is aimed at a certain level you are at in business. It's got a certain number of spaces, but that is subject to change. So as the club grows and more people join the club, and I meet you at events and I talk to you more about the different challenges that you're facing, then more spaces will be added. So that might be a course, or it might be a content library, or it could be different events, that kind of thing. So watch out for that, because more things are going to be added in 2024. But tier 1 has the Startup Content Library, the Mindset Content Library, your Big Idea for Your Education Business course, and also the annual EBC event. So let's just take those one by one. So in the Startup Content Library, that's where you're going to get new content added every single month. So they are audio files that you can listen to on specific topics, and I'll go through in a second what some of those are. You can read the text if you want, but I always say that the value is in the audio, because I just talk about it. Whereas the text, it's there so you don't have to take notes, basically. If you want to go look at it again, then that's why the text is there. But in the Startup Content Library, we're covering questions like, how do you run a business on a small budget? Resource creation software. Now, I know there's a lot of people who want to start a resource website. It's not as difficult as you think. We've got standing out in a saturated market. We've got getting a domain name, terms and conditions, and I'm just skimming through, I'm not saying all of them. We've got setting up your company, making sure that you've got insurance, thinking about who your ideal client is. What you'll actually find in tiers 1 and 2 is content for the lessons that I learned when I was on the journey around about the tier 4 level. So you might have heard me say this before, but in 2020, I realised that we had built the foundations for a semi-detached house, and then we'd built a mansion on top of it. And obviously you can imagine just picturing that, how chaotic it was. And what we had to do is step back and start rebuilding the foundations for a manor house underneath the mansion and then building a manor house on top. So often a lot of the lessons that I learned during that time are actually in tiers 1 and 2 because I want you to know that at the right time instead of figuring it out later. And often you do have to go back. And that's why in Education Business Club, if you're in tier 4, you don't just get access to tier 4, you get access to tiers 3, 2, 1, and the free resources as well. Because we're all in the education space, you'll understand this. But everybody's good at certain topics in maths, and you'll come round, it's very, it's a spiral, isn't it? You go over the same maths topics every single year and you add to things and there'll be gaps. And that's exactly what it's like in business. You might have been brilliant at building the team and really getting them to drive everything forward, but you might not be very good at specific processes such as creating products. We all have these gaps, and the gaps will be based on what we're not so good at as entrepreneurs, to be honest. So hopefully that's a helpful insight as well. But let's move on. So you've got the startup content library. That's going to get added to every month. There'll be new audios in there. You've also got the mindset content library in tier 1 as well. And mindset features in tiers 1 and 2 because until we grow ourselves, we can't grow our businesses very well. And so I think it's really, really important. So you've got things like refinding your mojo. So when you feel like you've just lost it. You've got things in there about morning routines. So if you're early on your business journey, that might be something that you want to start up or find out more about. You've got things like how to move away from a hobby into a business. Also stepping away from the mindset of the hourly rate. So this is business still, but it's thinking more about yourself and how you show up in your business. So it's just as important. It's a different topic, a different thing to think about. You've also got the course, your big idea for your education business. So in that course, which is included in this tier, I talk about all the different businesses that I set up before Classroom Secrets and just help you learn on the journey of why they didn't work and why Classroom Secrets did work and what you can do to start working out what business you would like in the education sector if you haven't got there yet. Now, if you have been through that process and you have already decided what your business is and you're in the early stages, it's still worth doing because there might be things that you've missed out, things that you haven't considered. You want to make sure that everything that you've got is really sustainable, it's got longevity, you've got ideal clients, it's unique. So it is a really good thing to do anyway. You've also got the annual EBC event. So that's going to be in July. We're going to bring everyone from Education Business Club together. And we're going to get together in Halifax, probably at a nice hotel or something. And if you're stopping by in Halifax, it's definitely worth visiting the Peace Hall because it's very, very nice. I feel very grateful that they have regenerated it and it's doing a lot for the town. So Halifax is worth visiting, by the way. Moving on to tier 2. So everything that's included in tier 1, you will get access to, including tier 2. So there's a content library for growth, a content library for identity upgrade. So that's mindset again, but building on what we're talking about in the first content library. You've got an annual mixer lunch as well. So everybody who is tier 2 or above will be invited to that. And you've also got a course, how to hire freelancers as well, because you're getting to that point where you're wanting to get some help in because you're getting the traction and you might need to get product or service out more quickly. So in the growth content library then, which is in tier 2, you have different things like, when do you become a CEO? What does that even mean? How do you ask great questions to help your business grow? What about if you're thinking about employing? What are the things that you need to know about? Are you good at getting feedback from your customers? Do you know how to forecast, and are you doing it? What about things like awards? Have you even thought about awards? Are you applying for them? How do you do it? Which award should you apply for? All these little questions that kind of go through your mind. If I do get a team member, what should I do with them? There's all these things that need to be thought about. Often we wing it, but what you can have is my insights on these topics, and just like the other content libraries, these will be added to every single month. So in Tier 2 as well, you've got the Identity Upgrade content library, where we talk about things like not being the bottleneck in your business, because if you are at Tier 2, then you will definitely be getting to the point where you're starting to experience being the bottleneck and holding things up. Now, there is no mindset content library in Tier 3. So this content library in Tier 2, the Identity Upgrade, it kind of spans the two tiers. And the reason why I did that, I thought it was important that you get prepared for Tier 3, because you're building a machine and it is relentless, and often you're fixing a lot of the quick fixes that you've done over time. And so I thought, if we make sure that the Identity Upgrade content library is in Tier 2 and we encompass everything that you would need for Tier 3 as well, it's going to get you prepared. So you'll find things in there about, your team as well. And maybe at Tier 2, you don't have a team, but you'll be thinking about getting one, because that's when you get into Tier 3, where maybe you've got 3-4 team members and you're really trying to get this business working. So that's Tier 2 then. Tier 3, you have obviously access to the annual Mixer Lunch and the annual EBC event, but you've got quarterly events as well. So we've got the first quarterly event coming up in January. I've already started planning that based on members that are in the club right now and what I know their needs are. So if you want to be included in that event, then make sure you've joined the club. You need to be Tier 3 at a minimum, and I can take into account the kind of things that you would like covering in that event and see what I can do. But it's going to be really good, because we're going to meet together with people who are at a similar level, and we're going to be able to talk about those things that sometimes you don't feel you can talk about because people don't understand, or maybe they're not at the same level as you. So that's going to be amazing. So you've got access to another 3 courses in Tier 3. It's the machine level is this one. You've got Managing Seasonal Income course, How to Sell to Teachers in August course, and also How to Hire Employees course. I have just taken everything that I've learned on this 11-year journey and put it into courses for you so that you can use those to help you build this machine. So if you're at Tier 3, you're feeling probably quite overwhelmed, you've got some team members, and you know that you just need to sort out some of the things that aren't working properly, that the machine needs oiling, it needs refining. And so there's one content library in Tier 3, and the content is quite meaty actually. It will be added to every month, just like the other content libraries, and often the inspiration for this comes from the mentoring sessions that we have at Tier 4. So it's really meaty stuff, problems that will come up in your business that you will need support with, but you can move through. So things like promoting within your company, like how do you even do that? And what happens if you fall out of love with your business? How do you get back on board with that? And because you're an education business, what does it mean to take on teachers from the classroom into your business? And what problems might that create? And how can you make sure that you mitigate for those problems as much as possible? It's the very specific things that are really pertinent to education businesses, and the questions that you really want to ask and have those meaty answers to based on experience. So that is Tier 3. Now, Tier 4, that is all of those things, and 2-to-1 mentoring as well with me and Ed. So we have clients that we mentor. We get together every 2 months. It tends to be online at the moment, actually, because they're coming for the events as well. And we just work on life-work balance principles, actually, trying to calm the chaos and get more time, because at the end of the day, we all went into business for more time and a financial legacy. And we get to this stage in our business and it's so chaotic and we can't really see the wood for the trees. Ed and I have been there. So we really help our mentees clean the machine. So build and clean the machine so that they can get to the other side and they can be at the tier 5 kind of level. And that one is going to be coming in the new year. So that is going to be peers, basically. So if you know somebody who has an education business and they are turning over more than 1 million and they have at least 10 members of staff, then tier 5 will be really useful to them, because we're going to get together, we're going to have dinners, we're going to share knowledge with each other, and we're going to be able to talk about the right kind of things, because education business is different to other business sectors. And it's helpful just to make those connections. It might be that partnerships can form from this. It might mean that friendships can form. It'll definitely mean that knowledge can be exchanged. So I'm really looking forward to launching that tier in 2024. So hopefully that's just given you some quick insights into what you can expect from Education Business Club and how it's going to be able to help you. It's knowledge, it's mentoring without the conversation, unless you're at the tier 4, where we talk specifically about your business. But I'm covering so many topics and I'm adding to those every single month. Questions that are specific to education business and to the journey that you're on right now. So hopefully I'm going to see you in the club soon. And with that, I'm going to talk to you next week.